When you stop chasing a woman, her mind doesn't just go quiet. It gets loud, confusing, emotional, and filled with thoughts she doesn't want to admit even to herself. Because the truth is, women notice when a man who used to give them attention suddenly goes cold. And no matter how strong, confident, or unbothered she tries to act, something shifts inside her when the dynamic changes. See, most men don't realize this, but when you're chasing a woman, you're feeding her ego more than you're building attraction. She gets used to it. Your attention becomes her comfort zone. She might not even like you that much at first, but your effort gives her validation. It reminds her she's desirable, wanted, and in control. So when you suddenly stop chasing, she starts wondering why. At first, she might act like she doesn't care. She might even double down on her pride, posting more, flirting more, or pretending she's happier than ever. But inside, she starts asking herself questions. Did I lose his interest? Was he serious about me at all? Has he moved on? And that's when the real shift begins. Because when you remove your attention, you remove her power, and women feel that instantly. Most men chase because they think it shows interest, but what they don't realize is chasing kills mystery. It makes her feel too secure, and security without emotional investment leads to boredom. The moment you stop chasing, you break that pattern. You force her to see you differently, and how she reacts next says everything about what she truly felt for you. Welcome to the channel, fellas. Today we're breaking down what really goes through a woman's mind when you stop chasing her. We'll uncover the emotional stages she experiences, from curiosity to confusion, and sometimes even regret. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand her reactions, but also learn how to stay in control of your emotions, your time, and your power. Because when you stop chasing, she's not the only one who changes. You do too. 1. She doesn't believe you've really stopped. Believe you've really stopped. When you finally stop chasing a woman, the first thing that goes through her mind is simple: disbelief. She doesn't think you mean it. She assumes it's temporary. In her head, you're just taking a short break to get her attention, not actually walking away. Because from her perspective, you've been consistent, reliable, and predictable. You've always texted first, always made plans, always showed interest. So when you suddenly stop doing all of that, it doesn't immediately register as you taking your power back. It registers as confusion. She might think, he's just trying to test me. He'll be back. And that thought comforts her, because as long as she believes you'll come running again, she doesn't have to take any accountability for how she treated you before. That's the power dynamic she's used to. She's the one being pursued, and you're the one trying to prove yourself. But when you remain silent and don't break that pattern, she starts noticing the silence. Your absence becomes noticeable. She checks her phone a little more than usual. She wonders if you're seeing someone else or if she pushed you too far. Yet even then, she tells herself, he'll text soon. He always does. And here's the thing. This stage is where most men fail. Because when a woman acts unbothered, most guys can't handle the emotional pressure. They break the silence. They text. They reach out just to check in. And that's when she wins again. She gets her validation back, and you're back where you started, chasing. You've got to understand something. Women are very aware of how much attention they get and who gives it to them. When yours disappears, it's not that she doesn't notice, it's that she doesn't want to believe it's real. Her ego tells her he's just playing games. He'll come back like always. That disbelief is her first line of defense. It's her way of staying in control. Because the moment she accepts that you've actually stopped, she has to face the possibility that she might have lost something valuable. And women hate that realization. So if you really want her to feel your absence, if you want her to respect your silence, you have to mean it. No half measures, no checking her stories, no late night messages when you feel weak. The power is in consistency. Because once she realizes your silence isn't an act, everything in her mindset begins to shift, and that's where the real psychological effect begins. 2. Her confidence starts to crack. Her confidence starts to crack. Once your silence lasts longer than she expected, her confidence starts to waver. This is the stage where she goes from "he'll be back" to "wait, maybe he's really done." And that small shift is powerful because now she's no longer in control of the story. She starts overthinking everything she said, everything she did, and everything she didn't do when you were chasing her. At first, she'll tell herself she's fine. She'll act normal. She might post more, go out with friends, or try to prove to herself that she's unbothered. But inside, she's starting to question things. She's replaying the moments when you showed care, the messages you used to send, and the way you used to make her feel. That validation she once took for granted suddenly feels missing. See, women are used to being desired, especially by men they know they can count on to chase. Your attention was part of her emotional routine. It gave her reassurance even if she didn't want you as much as you wanted her. But now, without your energy feeding that ego boost, she starts to feel an uncomfortable emptiness. It's subtle at first, but it grows stronger the longer you stay silent. This is when she starts comparing herself to other women, wondering if someone else caught your eye. It's when she checks your online activity more often than she admits. She's curious, but pride won't let her reach out yet. Instead, she'll try to convince herself that you're still watching her. That's why she posts that subtle picture, the story with the mystery caption, or something that hints she's moving on. But don't be fooled. Those moves aren't confidence, they're defense mechanisms. Every time she does that, it's her trying to regain the upper hand. But if you stay calm and continue not chasing, that false confidence starts to crumble. Because women sense when their control over a man is slipping. They feel it. And that's when she starts missing your attention. Not because of love, but because it fed her ego and made her feel special. Here's where you have to stay disciplined. Don't react to her little bait tests. Don't fall for the social media traps. Because the moment you do, you confirm that she still has influence over you. The best thing you can do right now is hold your ground. Stay silent. Stay centered. Because the longer you do, the more cracks appear in her confidence, until eventually she starts wondering if she's the one who got played. 3. The silent battle in her mind begins. Her mind begins. This is where things start getting interesting and complicated for her. When your silence becomes consistent, she enters a quiet war in her own head. On one side, her ego is telling her, don't reach out, you don't chase men. But on the other side, her emotions are whispering, what if he's really over you? What if he moved on? And that inner conflict eats at her more than she'll ever admit. She'll go through waves of emotion. One day she's angry, convincing herself you were just another guy trying to manipulate her. The next, she's nostalgic, thinking about the times you made her laugh or how genuine you seemed compared to other men. It's a back and forth emotional storm, and she's caught in the middle. Now, most women won't show this side. They'll still act like they've got it all together, but internally, that silence from you hits harder than any words ever could. Because for the first time, she doesn't know what's going on in your mind, and that uncertainty is powerful. When you were chasing, she knew exactly where she stood. She had the control. Now you flipped the script, and she's trying to make sense of it. This is where she starts overanalyzing everything. Was he pretending to like me? Did I do something wrong? Why hasn't he texted? And even though she tries to push these thoughts away, they keep coming back because deep down, women crave emotional certainty. And when you take that away, it forces them to feel something real. The beauty of this stage is that you're no longer the one trying to impress her. She's the one trying to figure you out. That mental shift is everything. It means she's no longer viewing you as the predictable guy who always wants her. She's seeing you as the man who has options, discipline, and emotional control. And that's attractive in a way she didn't expect. Here's the key. You don't need to do anything during this stage. The silence itself does the work. Don't post things to get a reaction. Don't act mysterious on purpose. Just live your life. Because while she's stuck in her head, you're showing through your actions that you've moved on with peace, not pettiness. 4. She starts to miss the attention she took for granted. This is the turning point when your absence finally starts to sink in. The longer you stay silent, the more she begins to miss the little things she never appreciated before. The texts she used to ignore. Now she rereads them. The good morning messages that once annoyed her, she secretly wishes they'd come again. And the effort you once gave so freely, she starts realizing how rare that kind of energy actually is. When a woman becomes used to your attention, it becomes part of her emotional comfort zone. She may not have valued it before, but it was there. It filled small gaps in her day and gave her reassurance that someone cared, even if she didn't reciprocate fully. But when you pull that energy away, she feels that emptiness, not just in her phone, but in her emotional rhythm. At first, she'll try to fill that void with distractions. She might talk to new guys, scroll through social media more, or hang out with friends. But the truth is, none of it hits the same, because what she's really missing isn't attention in general. It's your attention. The way you made her feel seen, desired, and important. That's not easy to replace. This stage is powerful because it's when she starts to realize the emotional value of what she lost. It's not always love she feels. Sometimes it's regret, sometimes curiosity, and sometimes just emptiness. But whatever it is, it's strong enough to make her think about you more often than she wants to. Now here's where men often make mistakes. They sense her shift. Maybe she watches your stories again or likes an old post, and they take that as a sign to re-engage. But if you do that too early, you interrupt the very process that's making her miss you. You're cutting short the phase where she's actually feeling the absence of your presence. Her curiosity slowly turns into jealousy. 5. Her curiosity slowly turns into jealousy. This is the stage where everything changes emotionally for her. Up until now, she's been confused, nostalgic, and maybe a little regretful. But once curiosity turns into jealousy, the emotions hit deeper. This happens when she starts wondering not just why you stopped chasing, but who might be getting your attention. Now at this point, she's realized you're not bluffing. You've stayed silent long enough that it's clear you're serious. And that's when her mind starts painting pictures, imagining you texting another woman, giving someone else the same energy you once gave her. That thought alone stings more than she expected. She'll act calm on the surface, but behind the scenes, she's watching closely. She checks your posts, your likes, your followers, not because she wants to talk to you, but because she's looking for signs that someone else has your focus. That curiosity quickly turns into low-key jealousy. Here's where things get interesting. She might even start doing little things to get your attention again. Maybe she suddenly posts more pictures, dresses differently, or tries to accidentally run into you somewhere. It's not coincidence. It's her way of testing if you'll react. If you don't, and you shouldn't, that jealousy only grows stronger. Let's be real. Women don't like to lose their emotional influence over a man. When you stop chasing, it's not just your attention she loses. It's the feeling of power she once had. She was used to you giving her constant reassurance that she was desirable, that she was winning. Now, she's not sure anymore. And that uncertainty feels like rejection, which is something most women hate to feel. Here's a simple situation to illustrate it. Imagine she's out with her friends, scrolling through Instagram, and she sees a post of you smiling, looking unbothered. Maybe even with another woman nearby. She won't admit it, but it hits her. Suddenly, she's not just wondering where you went. She's wondering who replaced her. That's jealousy, mixed with realization, and it hits deep. 6. She realizes you've changed the game. Realizes you've changed the game. At this point, something clicks in her mind. She realizes you're not the same guy she used to know. The dynamic has completely changed. You're not chasing, you're not reacting, and you're not giving her the energy she once relied on. And that realization hits her harder than she expected. See, when a man changes his energy, a woman can feel it immediately. She notices that your tone is different, your focus is elsewhere, and your attention is no longer centered on her. That shift makes her see you in a new light. Not as the predictable guy who wanted her, but as a man who has options, discipline, and control. And whether she admits it or not, that change commands respect. This is where she starts to reevaluate everything. She begins to realize how much of the connection was built on your effort, not hers. How much of her confidence came from your pursuit. When you remove that, she's forced to see the truth. She wasn't the one in control all along. You were. You just didn't know it yet. This stage often feels strange to men because the woman might suddenly shift her tone. She may start being friendlier, more responsive, or even try to reconnect casually. She might text out of nowhere, drop a comment on your post, or find an excuse to ask you something simple. But understand this, she's not just being nice. She's testing the new version of you. She wants to see if your change is real or temporary. If you stay calm and consistent, you reinforce the new dynamic. That's how you win this phase, because now she's the one trying to figure you out. She's not sure what you're thinking or feeling, and that uncertainty creates attraction. It's the same mystery that you once felt for her, only now the roles are reversed. She may even start to admire your growth, especially if you've been improving yourself, looking better, sounding more confident, focusing on your goals. When she sees that you've leveled up without her being part of it, that realization triggers both respect and curiosity. It's no longer about missing attention, it's about seeing your true value for the first time. 7. Now she's the one. Now she's the one wondering what went wrong, wondering what went wrong. By the time she reaches this stage, everything inside her has shifted. The confidence she once had in the situation, the belief that you'd always be around, is gone. Now the question haunting her mind is simple. What happened to me and him? She starts replaying the entire history in her head. The conversations, the moments, the way you looked at her. She wonders if she made the wrong assumptions. She starts thinking maybe she misjudged you. Maybe you weren't just another guy chasing her like everyone else. Maybe you cared, and maybe she should have cared back. This phase is powerful because it's where regret settles in. Regret is an emotion that sticks. It doesn't go away easily. It keeps her thinking about you long after the moment has passed. This is also the moment where some men make their biggest mistake. They feel her shift and suddenly jump back into the old patterns. But don't do that. Don't ruin your growth by falling into your past behavior. Because right now, she's finally seeing your worth. She's finally realizing she had a good thing and she didn't value it. She may start comparing you to the guys she thought were better. Maybe someone else gave her attention quicker, but that guy didn't treat her the same way you did. Maybe she tried to replace your energy, only to learn that not every man has the same heart, effort, or loyalty. Here's where the constructive criticism comes in. If you let her walk all over you before, why? Why did she feel so sure you'd always stay? You must take responsibility for your part. You allowed her to treat you casually because you were too afraid of losing her. You gave too much too soon. You chased because you thought that was the only way to keep her. But the moment you stopped, you showed her something stronger than desire. You showed her self-respect. And that changes how she sees you forever. Conclusion. When you finally decide to walk away from a woman who took you for granted, it's not just about ending something. It's about teaching her something she couldn't see before. You show her what it feels like to lose a man who truly cared, who gave effort, consistency, and emotion. Something rare in a world full of games and ego battles. See, women don't learn from words. They learn from absence. They learn when the attention stops, when the calls don't come, and when the man who once made them feel safe suddenly becomes a mystery again. That silence speaks louder than anything you could have ever said. And the beautiful truth is this. Walking away isn't revenge. It's growth. It's your declaration that your energy isn't free anymore. It's the moment you stop trying to convince someone to value what's already valuable. Because once you stop chasing, she starts remembering. Once you pull back, she starts missing. And when you disappear, she starts understanding exactly who you were. Not every woman deserves another chance, but every man deserves peace. And sometimes that peace begins when you finally realize you don't need her to see your worth. You just need to stop proving it. That's when everything changes. Not because she finally gets it, but because you finally did.